So what have been the challenges that have really stood out to you now that you've been doing this for, I guess, a month now? Is really you've been working in this
4 weeks.
manner. Yeah.
Mhm.
What have been the challenges that you expected or maybe didn't expect?
Well, I guess missing that interaction with our kids,
Hmm.
teachers. I mean, I guess you expect it, but it happened so quickly that you couldn't think about it at the time. But just knowing how your kids are as an educator, and just having that everyday one-on-one connection has been, I know for us, extremely difficult. And like you said, the kids feel it too. You know, we know that, but it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Also, something that I, have come to see now is I don't have that time in my classroom. I mean, I'm making all day anecdotal notes. I do informal assessments. You're asking your kids questions throughout the day. I can tell you at any given day, if we're face-to-face education, how your kid is struggling, what your kid is great at, what they really like. And that helps to guide education. Individually, not as a whole group, but that not having that opportunity to do every single day. I mean, when I'm making lesson plans, all that during a normal daily, weekly rotation, you understand, oh, I need to go back and I need to teach this, or I need to go back and I need to hit this harder, or that is not there. I don't have that. I can't just tell from asking questions where
that's actually been something as a parent that so the approach that I've seen you take just with Brody is you ask us when he's doing his reading, send me a little video. And some people might think that it was like, oh, just as proof. But it's actually not that. What you then did was say, oh my gosh, he's doing so great. Remind him to sound out these types of words. Remind him it makes this sound. Like you still been giving that. I think I don't know if I've just been unaware of it, but I actually like that because it gives more quicker turnaround on that feedback. And I hear what you're saying of like, those are the moments that really individualize education. You've got a lesson plan and you're able to do that, but like those one-on-one moments are really, really huge.
A lot of education is a child in the classroom raising their hand and asking a question about something, or if you see that they're struggling, you're like, oh, we really need to go back, or I really need to hit this harder, or, it may open up a whole small group lesson. I mean, not having that has been probably one of the hardest. It's because that drives your teaching. So.
Yeah. What other challenges?
Like you said, just the parental willingness. I mean, you hate to make those contacts, but you'll have students, turn in or not turn in work. And you're like, okay, is something going on? Has there been something that's happened? You hate to have to make that contact because you're like, I know everyone is struggling right now.
You want to be sensitive. Sure. Yeah.
Yes, you try to be sensitive, but on the other hand, you're worried about the education of these children. I mean, that's what's paramount in my mind. And so, and then of course, power technology, we didn't have power for a few days here in Arkansas and parts of Arkansas. So that, of course, impacted, finding when you are teaching remotely, the state of Arkansas has set up guidelines. The Arkansas Department of Education has said for students within this range, they need to have this much of instruction per day remotely. So I have between an hour and an hour and a half to 2 hours of time that I need to be providing. The children need, I'm sorry, not that I have to be providing, right. But the children, on the other hand, have to be receiving and doing. Right. They should not spend more than 2 hours a day in their home working on either lessons or work that you have given them to do. And so finding and deciding on lessons that I can provide and then work after the lesson, it's been very challenging. Just because kids work at a slower pace, you've got some that work at a faster pace, and I'm not there to see. Right. I can't tell if Brody or anybody in the classroom is taking 2.5 hours to do something that should have taken an hour and a half. Right. During the school day, I can tell who's struggling with what just by just your observation. And I can say, hey, you know what? Just do this. Don't worry about this other part. I don't want you stressed out. Or changing the assignment for a couple of kids because they're having trouble with something. I can do that in the classroom, can't do that remotely. So that's been a hard thing. You're thinking, all right, I have a time crunch. They're going to watch me do these lessons. And then they've got about 35 minutes extra that they're going to spend thinking or doing. So, and then, I'm a perfectionist. Another hard thing, I guess, is critiquing myself. I hate my voice. I mean, I'm reading a book and I'm like, you sound so stupid. I mean,
really? You do that?
Yes, all of us, all teachers do that. I mean,
that's interesting. That's interesting. I didn't think that would be, I mean, I, as a parent, don't think it's stupid when I hear it. So,
well, I'm sure you don't, but we critique ourselves. I should have said this in a different way when I videoed. Sure. Or I should have. I
actually think that that goes outside of teaching as well. I think there's a lot of people that are very, very hard on themselves, when I think it's actually, we should be giving each other and ourselves a lot of grace in this time, because it is unprecedented, right? Like we get in our heads a lot of times, and it may be something like, I'm putting out a piece of content, whether it be teaching material or just something for your business because you're trying to adapt as a small business, or it may be something that's like, just going for another job, like you've lost your job and you're like trying to go out there and you're like, I can't do this, or I'm not good at this. I think we have to stop judging ourselves and get out of our own heads so much. And really, I think one thing that I've noticed the world doing is being much more gracious to other people during this time. And that's one of the things that I hope really sticks around in this next time. Because I think we kind of as society got off of that, but now it's kind of leveled a lot of the playing fields. And it's like, look, we're all trying to figure out what the best path forward and whatever we're doing is. But I think that brings up a good point, that a lot of people are judging themselves.